do the show?
Let's do a show.
Hi, it's This Epic Disaster. Welcome, everyone. Where have you been? How are you?
Let's talk about you.
Let's
I want to
about
talk
you.
about you.
It's about you.
It's about you.
Okay, so this we didn't do last week. We didn't do your birthday.
No.
We didn't do your birthday episode. We always do a birthday episode. We didn't.
We do it prior to the birthday.
So this is really not your birthday episode, but it kind of is.
I'm going to hijack it a little bit.
So you're going to jack the episode.
I'm going to jack it.
So I feel like since it is your episode, you could do whatever. We will talk about whatever you want to talk about on the show.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay.
All right.
You have a really big problem with that clock on the wall. You touch it constantly.
Let's look at it. It's leaning.
Because it's leaning. It's the leaning clock of This Epic Disaster.
So I bought it thinking it would be really cool, and it is kind of cool, but the cord on one side pulls it to the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Velcro and straighten it up. But I have to straighten it with my hand because I'm OCD, and then it unstraightens itself.
Constantly. And if you push on it, the buttons are on the back. So
Yes.
if you push on the clock, the buttons
resets
it's stupid.
It's
a stupid clock.
It's kind of a weird clock.
I use the word stupid.
Speaking of stupid, we got beer.
We do.
Now, I picked out a special beer. This is what you might call a birthday beer.
Okay.
First of all, hi everyone. Welcome to This Epic
Hi.
Disaster.
Thanks
This is
for
a
being
podcast that we do. We've been doing it since what, the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
A long time.
Feels like it.
We were, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we were the very first podcast ever.
Ever. Like before podcasts were a thing.
We started podcasts.
We did. We invented them.
And then people came and started doing them. They got the credit.
We're like Al
We
Gore.
were the first ones.
Yes, we were the first.
So, since we're celebrating your birthday, I decided for our live beer review, boy, that smells like leather.
It sure does, and it's burning right in your face, too.
Yeah.
Rick just lit some oil that is called leather.
It's leather oil.
And it smells like leather.
It smells like leather.
And suddenly...
somebody's burning a wallet.
I don't think I liked this one last time, but I really like it this time.
I tend to like it like in the room, not going in my face.
Right.
But I like it like in the room, letting the whole room kind of takes this. It smells like a library.
You know what it smells like to me? You know, at the... Stop it.
This girl you met in college?
She wasn't. She was... like tanned leather. No. It reminds me of when you walk into the leather stores at the Ren Fair.
Yes.
Because it's hot and the leather is new and smelly and lovely. And
I was surprised.
That's exactly what it smells like.
I was surprised at how much like leather it smelled. In fact, I might have gotten this at the Ren Fair. I can't remember. Anyway, let's go back to the live beer review.
Sorry.
We got a little bit distracted. So I bought a special beer for you since it's your birthday.
Go Cheri.
It's a special beer for you. Look, it's in a bottle. It's like a special little one of these little things.
Bottle.
Here we go.
Okay, can I open it?
You can open it.
What's happening?
Here we
go.
go.
I'm looking. I'm seeing. You got me a Game of Thrones beer. Says my watch has ended is what this is called.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get your age. Your watch has ended.
Hang on. My watch is
just broke. I don't know.
My watch is just broke. Okay, this is an Imperial Brown Ale brewed with maple syrup.
And you're an Imperial Brown Ale.
I am an Imperial Brown.
Something like that.
And fenugreek. It's got fenugreek in it.
I don't know what that is. But anyway, it looked like actually my wife saw it and was like, this is the one you need to pick. And so I was like, you are correct. And I picked it. So there we go. So we're going to have a great Game of Thrones beer. And I got to tell you, I've only seen one episode of Game of Thrones. So I should be drinking the beer. But
okay, then maybe I shouldn't read this to you. No, it's not really a spoiler.
No spoilers.
It's not a spoiler.
Anyways,
this is by Ommegang Brewery. We've had some of their stuff before. And this is sponsored by HBO, obvi. And
HBO beer.
It says, our final Game of Thrones release expresses the state of the Seven Kingdoms after 8 seasons of bloody battle. The name is a tribute to fans everywhere. The recipe, a nod to Bran the Broken.
Oh, that's what watch has in there. I can't watch anymore.
Exactly.
I got it.
Ding, 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 ding. Tell him what he's won, Bob. The recipe, a nod to Bran the Broken and his time beneath the weirwood tree. The beer pours a rich mahogany hue with aromas of sweet maple and caramelized sugar.
Okay.
Notes of cocoa and toffee. That's my dog.
I like it.
It's going to taste like my dog.
We're going to pop it open and try it.
A smooth, velvety mouthfeel.
Ooh.
I like velvet mouthfeels.
I was also the girl in college that you knew.
And a rewarding finish that gently smolders with lingering roast. And I thought I almost
no leather involved, though, I guess.
No leather.
All right, so this is one that you got to twist off the top, which you're doing now. You're twisting.
Of leather on the show.
You're twisting. You're pulling off. It's like a champagne thing. You got to pull a little metal thing, and then you got to try to pop the cork. Oh, that was easy.
That was easy.
The cork has popped. Now let's see if you have the rich mahoganies and all that. Ooh, I like the little fog that pours off the top.
I like it when it fogs too.
It's kind of nice.
It's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's really pretty.
Pouring. Not a lot of head, but pouring. It is thick. It's very colorful beer.
It's colorful and thick and pretty.
Like me.
You're not thick. And you're not very colorful.
It's also a very slow pour, apparently.
No, that's just me.
No, okay.
That's just me. It smells
Smell good?
Yeah.
It's kind of red. It's a little red, orangey red. You could sort of see through it.
Smells like beer.
It's got a nice little... it's hard to... The leather smell is so strong.
Just because I always mention it, this has 8% alcohol by volume.
Everything... So far, it's got everything going for it.
So far, I'm digging it.
But now's the real test. What's it taste like? That looked kind of like you liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It tastes... I definitely get the maple, and I definitely get the cocoa. Let me do that one more time.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you get the caramelized... what was it? Caramelized sugar? I mean, that's what it's...
I get that a lot. Like. Brown sugar.
Yeah,
definitely brown sugar in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For sure. There's a coffee taste. Does it say coffee? It's got that kind of coffee taste.
No, it says cocoa nibs. Cocoa and toffee. So that's what I'm tasting is the toffee.
You're correct.
And it doesn't taste like my dog.
That's a tasty beer. Okay, we'll be drinking that through the rest of the show.
I'm going to recommend it already.
And so we'll tell you at the end of the podcast what we think about it.
Just out of curiosity, just so you know, we got the...
Don't spill it.
The large bottle. Oh, it's gone. We got the large bottle.
Did you empty it?
Yeah.
No, there's stuff in it.
Which is... Sure? What size is that? I can't read. It's
big.
It's 9.4. It's 1 pint, 9.4 fluid ounces. Anyways, how much did that bottle cost?
I can't remember, honestly. I'm for some reason I think $11, but I don't remember.
That's actually not bad. I'm
just making it. I don't remember
because I've bought bottles that big and I've paid $22 or $23 for.
I don't even remember, so I can't say.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll tell you what we think of that at the end. So, how was your week?
It was good. Well, I was going to ask you about your birthday because it's after your birthday. Did you celebrate? Did you have a lot of people over? Did you have a COVID party? Were they wearing masks?
I didn't have anybody over. I didn't have a party.
Did you get any presents?
I did not.
Wow. What kind of present? What kind of birthday is that?
I don't know.
Well, let's just say it might be a little early to say you haven't gotten presents. But anyway, we'll keep going.
So what I did is I stayed home, and I had salad for dinner.
This is getting exciting.
It was super exciting.
Woo! Slow down.
I know. I was in bed by 10, I think. It was,
gosh.
Man.
How do you do it?
I don't know. It was just too much. But yeah, I mean, I had a good week overall until, I was getting ready. No. I woke up in the middle of the night like you do.
Yeah.
And I had to pee like you do. So
What happens the more birthdays you have?
I know. So I got up and I didn't want to wake the dog up because I didn't want to get dressed to take her outside. So I was quietly tiptoeing to go into the bathroom in the dark, and
yes.
That's my phone.
I know.
Okay. And when I got up, I got halfway out of the bedroom, and suddenly I stepped in a freshly puked up hairball.
Ugh.
It was fun.
That happens.
It was fun. Yeah.
We have 3 cats, so we never know who does it, but you know exactly who does it.
I know who's coughing up the hairballs in my house, and it's not me. I promise. I don't lick my cat.
No.
So, yeah. That was the most exciting thing that happened to me this week.
A hairball.
A hairball on bare feet.
So that's what you got to look forward to when you get middle-aged. Stepping in the hairballs.
Stepping in hairballs.
When you're peeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so what we have done on this show before is we do a little gift giving, but I'm sorry, we're not doing that in this show.
That's okay.
So your show should have been last week. We forgot and we didn't do it, so it was going to be last week's. And so what we have done, so if you're listening to this podcast right now, it's too late because as we're recording, and then tonight we're going to do a special Zoom
for my birthday
hangout for Cheri's birthday, and she will get presents on the Zoom. But you won't be able to know because as you're listening to this, it was last night.
Yeah. So that'll be weird if you listen on Monday.
It kind of be weird, but we did announce it, so people should know. So you had an opportunity, unless you're new to the show, you had an opportunity to show up and watch. But here's the other thing.
What?
If you didn't get to be there live, it'll be online. You could watch it still. And you could watch her opening the presents.
Do you actually post our Zooms online after we do them?
I'm pretty sure I do, yeah.
Do you get permission from the people joining the Zoom to do that?
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, okay.
And that's and honestly, now that you're saying that, I don't do that because no, I've not done that. I was thinking of Facebook Live.
Oh, okay. You're thinking of our live events, like the 4th
so in other words,
July.
so now you can't.
You can't.
Well, I mean, we could potentially record it and put it on, but
nah,
it's too much trouble.
It's special. If you want to be part of a Zoom, you got to join the Zoom.
So we'll do a Zoom every couple months, and we haven't done one since my birthday, right? Did we do one right after? I think it was my birthday. No, we did one after
we did your birthday one, and then we did another one
in around June.
Yeah, and then we did our 4th of July on Facebook Live.
That was a lot, but this is the third Zoom we've done.
This is the third Zoom.
So sorry if you didn't get to see it.
Sorry.
But Cheri will get to open her presents then, and next year we'll try to do one on the show. We'll try to do present opening on the show.
Okay.
So that's that. My week was nothing.
Nothing.
Pretty much didn't do anything. So my wife had to take her mother. We've told this little adventure
so many times
on the show. She had to go pick up her mother because her family got the COVID, and
Mama didn't have it.
Her mom is almost 80, and they were like, "Nope, you don't need that." So she drove to get her mom. So her mom stayed with us for like a month, I guess.
Thereabout, yeah.
So she took her back.
Okay.
So she was gone for half a week anyway. So it was like a bachelor.
Nice. Did you watch a lot of porn and jack off?
No, I wish I did. I don't do that much anymore.
No, me either.
I watched a pretty cool documentary, which I will recommend, but I can't remember the name of it.
Recommend it next time.
I think it's just called Mr. Fish.
Mr. Fish.
But there's like a part of it, like an additional part. Mr. Fish, like the adventures of a cartoonist or something like that. Anyway, Mr. Fish is a very, very controversial editorial cartoonist.
Okay.
His stuff is really, really offensive to some people.
Okay.
And but the documentary was fantastic. And of course, I'm used to be editorial cartoonist, so it's stuff that was very fascinating to me.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Now you tended to keep your editor. I mean, I only knew your last couple of years of editorial cartooning. You did it for several years prior to even knowing me.
Right.
And from what I've seen, looking at your past work and the stuff I used to see you push out every week, you tend to stay ever so slightly middle ground. You would go a little bit each way, left or right, depending on what you thought was funny. Mostly you stayed to the left. But you never really offended anybody.
I started cartooning during the Clinton years.
Okay.
And then I cartooned during the Bush years. Mm-hmm. And then I cartooned during the Obama years.
Yes.
Now, compared to Clinton and Bush, Obama was kind of boring. So, and the other thing was, when I started, I lived in Knoxville, which is where I was born and raised, and I knew Knoxville politics really well. So I did a lot of local editorial cartooning.
Because you worked for a local magazine there.
And then we moved to Chattanooga, and I did editorials for Chattanooga. And I didn't know the local politics at all, so I couldn't do that. And, I tried doing some Obama stuff, but it was mostly pretty boring.
Yeah.
So the cartoon strip, or the editorial cartoon, kind of became a little bit more of just entertainment. And that's one reason why I quit doing it.
So when you first started, did you used to get really controversial?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
And so, I'm not ashamed. I was a Clinton voter, but I made fun of Clinton more than I made fun of anybody.
Well, it was easy to do.
I guess they say you make fun of the people you love. So And I tend to do that. I tend to tease people that I like, family members or friends or whatever, a lot more than, quote, enemies.
Really?
But
Really?
yeah,
I
but
wouldn't know.
But I did a lot of Clinton stuff, and then when Bush was in there, I certainly did a lot of Bush stuff and a lot of local stuff. But it just kind of died out when I moved, and so I quit. But I really liked this movie about his point of view on how, and I've been saying this for so long, how being offensive is a dying art.
Yes.
And so if you watch this, and I think you can watch it on Amazon, you can watch it online. Again, it's Mr. Fish, and I don't remember the follow-up, but you'll find it. Just type in Mr. Fish documentary.
Okay.
And watch it, and you'll really like it. But anyway, it's about this guy, and I'm guessing he's probably your age, I'm going to guess.
Okay.
And it's about how he's trying to struggle to be an artist and to be significant and to be relevant, while at the same time his wife would like him to pay the mortgage.
Right. That would be nice.
Something we all relate to.
Oftentimes editorial cartooning doesn't pay the mortgage.
Yeah, and it shows him he has to get a real job, and he doesn't particularly like it. And so it's really interesting. But, man, his cartooning, I mean, there's some that even I was like, whoa, that's a little over the top.
Really?
But that's good. I've been saying that for a while. I think satire is kind of dead now. Satire, like in the 60s and 70s. And to me, good satire is like Monty Python or National Lampoon. Mm-hmm. And those kind of died in the late 70s, maybe, certainly in the 80s. And I think it was when all of those satire groups started getting into the movie industry. Like National Lampoon started doing
the vacation movies and things.
Vacation, Animal House, and all that kind of stuff. And then Animal House was a bit of a satire, but it also it was just entertainment. And then the Pythons did the same thing. They were their TV show is very satirical.
Yes.
Now they kind of kept that satire. I think Life of Brian was certainly more satire than Holy Grail, but I don't know. They kind of lost it, and there's not a lot of good satire anymore.
Well, it's because nobody can take a fucking joke.
No one could take a joke, but people get offended at jokes, and instead of letting it go, they have to drag the people down.
Yeah, it's this cancel culture thing where it's like, you've offended me, I'm going to throw my hands up and walk out the room, and I'm never talking to you again.
Yeah,
and that's what's happening. And I used to be married to somebody like that, and I'll tell you what, it sucks.
But there's a difference in quote canceling an asshole or a pervert or an abuser or something in like real life, somebody who's like a creep, and doesn't turn their life around, as opposed to just someone who might say or do something that you don't agree with.
Exactly.
So like today, George Carlin, he'd never make it. People would be offended.
Oh God, no.
And plus, because he could be offensive, he would try to be offensive, and then people would cancel him out.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have anything to do with him as a person.
Nope.
It would just have to do with a point of view that a group of people no longer want to represent or want to support and feel like no one should. So they would do what they could to kind of cancel him out. And it's happening to some other comedians and actors or whatever. As opposed to someone who's just a jerk that probably should be... Well, and this is no judgment. I'm not going to be judging. But currently, there's a whole thing about Ellen DeGeneres.
Yes.
It came out that there was abuse on her show from staff members.
Yes.
And she came out and said, I apologize, and things are going to be different. And then the actor Brad Garrett came out and said, well, it's happening from you too.
Yeah.
You need to take responsibility, because he pointed the finger at Ellen herself.
Yeah, I read that.
And for a long time, I've heard those kind of innuendos, and some other actors kind of came out and supported that. Now we'll see what happens. I don't know. Are people going to cancel out Ellen?
They tried to cancel her out once when she came out.
But that was just for
judgment reasons.
That was religious. And then, but she's always kind of come off as, well, she's funny and people like her show and everything. And then suddenly it's going to be like, is everybody going to turn on her because of her personal, like, just being a jerk?
Yeah. I mean,
being an ass. And
what
then
is she like behind closed doors? We don't know.
But then that's the thing, and that we've talked about that. Can you support someone like Pablo Picasso? I mean, stories are that he was an asshole.
Yeah.
So do we stop? Is he no longer relevant? His art is no longer good? I mean, how do you do that? Do you go through history and pick out the jerks? Because I think that's going to be everyone. There's not going to be a whole lot of perfect people.
I mean, are you going to tell me that Bukowski and Hemingway are no longer...
Well, Bukowski was admittedly a jerk.
So was Hemingway. Hemingway was more of just an oaf, really, but he wasn't a nice person.
I saw this documentary, and I don't know. I think Charles Bukowski's overrated, but I love reading some of his poems. So I'll read something that I think is spectacular, and then I'll read something which I think is like the worst thing ever written. But I think he was an interesting guy. But I watched a documentary about him, and his mate, whoever it was sitting there. And while they were being filmed, they get into this little argument or something, and he just reaches back and just starts kicking her.
Wow.
On the documentary, and he's like mad, and I just thought, oh wow,
that's a jerk.
Yeah, but I mean, he never said he wasn't. So
that's true too.
But I don't know, and I've said it before. It's just like you're not, I don't have control over what happens in society. So you just have to sit back and watch, and then if you don't like it, you can cry about it, yell about it, scream about it, and still not be able to do anything about it. So just sit back and watch it and see what happens, see where it goes. I feel like that from a personal standpoint, I think it might be overdoing something. I certainly understand the impulse to not support people who are not nice people. To not support people who have a point of view unlike yours is weird to me.
Just because they differ doesn't mean they don't have talent. Just because they differ in one or maybe more aspects of thought than you do. And this is big for me with J.K. Rowling right now.
Yeah.
She has some opinions, and she's not afraid to put them out there. And some people are just done with her, like she's dead to them, right? But to me, the artwork, the work that she did, the stories that she wrote, the Harry Potter series specifically, means so much to me. I will never not support Harry Potter and the Harry Potter world and anything like that. I don't necessarily need to move forward with J.K. Rowling and any new material that she decides to put out there if I don't want to. Or maybe I will. Just because she has some strong opinions that differ from a lot of other people's opinions, and some that differ from mine, doesn't mean that she's not a talented writer.
Well, I think that...
And I think that the reason that people shut people like that out is because they no longer want to give them money.
It's a form of punishment. It's
yes.
like, I can't control... You have a platform for putting out a point of view that I don't agree with, and I cannot tell you to shut up. So the way I will tell you to shut up is I will not support you either through social media or money or whatever.
Right.
And okay, that's your thing. You can do that if you want. To me, and I don't know, because I can't say that I totally do this. So I don't like not walking my talk. Mm-hmm. So I really try to examine. So, and I'm just going to throw this out because this is what's coming in my mind. Like Dennis Miller, I used to think Dennis Miller was like one of the best stand-ups.
Yeah,
and
he was.
Everything he did.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of became a kind of, quote, right-wing conservative, which is a stupid label, but his point of view kind of changed. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, he stopped being funny.
Well, he did. I think it was more than just a point of view change for Dennis Miller. I think something else changed because you're right. He stopped being funny. He started being ranty.
But maybe he was funny to another group of people now. And so I'm like, okay, well, if right-wing people like him, don't they have a right to a comedian that expresses their point of view? Mm-hmm. And then he's relevant. So if he's still funny, even if he's funny to a group of people that I don't relate to, then fine, go ahead.
Yeah.
So I never felt like I should try to cancel him because I didn't agree with his point of view. Because sometimes it might be a little extreme. But and I've also heard he's kind of a dick.
But he's never been a dick to you.
No, but I think he would also say he's a dick. But I've heard a lot of people say he has a tendency to be. But I guess my point is, to me, it's just like, okay, well, I can't relate to him anymore, so I'm not going to listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
But let's now go to Louis C.K., who we both talked about. I haven't heard anything really that he's done since his all of his big scandal stuff.
Mm-mm.
But he was funny then. If he's still funny, I don't know. I guess I would still listen to him.
So let me give you another comparison,
Yeah.
one that you can actually consider. So let's consider these two actors, Mel Gibson
Yeah.
and Christian Bale.
Okay.
Okay. Now we both know, we've heard the tapes. Mel Gibson on the phone with his girlfriend being a complete asshole and saying super racist and anti-Semitic things.
Right.
We've heard Christian Bale on set berating a grip or somebody on set, calling them, stupid asshole, blah. I mean, just going off on them.
Mm-hmm.
I have kind of rejected Mel Gibson in my life since I heard that. Like, I won't go to a Mel Gibson movie. More than likely, I will not go to a Mel Gibson movie.
Okay.
Depends on who else is in the movie. I will still support Christian Bale. And the reason is because when you listen to what they said, Mel Gibson kind of buried himself under deep-rooted feelings that he let out in that phone call, right? Like judgmental, prejudiced, racial things, right? Christian Bale didn't really. He just kind of, got pissed and was a jerk. Another one on the Christian Bale side is the guy who plays Hutch, Tom, somebody on Criminal Minds. He actually kicked somebody on set and ended up losing his job over
Thomas Gibson, right?
Yes, Thomas Gibson, thank you.
From Dharma and Greg. He was Greg.
He was Greg, yeah.
Well, okay. So that kind of goes along with my theory about the Mel Gibson thing.
Okay, what's your theory?
Because that's happened to me too. I've always thought Mel Gibson was a pretty good actor. Braveheart, one of my favorite movies. It's hard for me to watch Braveheart now.
Yeah.
And the reason is because
it's also historically inaccurate, but go on.
Well, that's okay. It's Hollywood. I mean,
right.
what? It's telling a story. So, but the problem that I have is Mel Gibson set himself up as a different type of person.
He did.
I'm a Christian. I'm going to make this Jesus film. I'm a moral person. I'm a good person. When you heard him on talk shows, he always kind of talked. I mean, you just felt like he was a really good guy.
He used to remind me of my dad.
And so when you find this stuff out, it's like, holy shit. The rug has been pulled out. You
Completely.
never think that about Christian Bale. It's like, okay, well, I can imagine him doing that. You know, it's not a big deal. And Thomas Gibson, like the roles he plays, and not always. I mean, Dharma and Greg, he was just such a nice, sweet guy. He was an asshole in Far and Away, but I think he's both. But in that, I don't know. I guess maybe it's your own problem for having this kind of mental image of him.
Right.
But I feel like that we tend to want to pay back people who and J.K. Rowling might be a good example. You just feel like she's a different person, and when you find out she's not that, then you're like, oh, I've been tricked.
Your disenchantment is so big that
so you have to punish.
You feel personally like you've been had.
But
And,
to me,
and I'll tell you what, I mean, if we haven't been had by celebrity artists, then if you don't know that you've been had by hundreds of celebrity artists, then you're a fool. Because, I mean, start with the fact that most of them don't use their real name, okay? Start with the fact that they're covered in makeup and they have other people putting their persona on them. Start with the fact that they're worried about their sponsorships, and so they're promoting things that they're making money on. And then start with the fact that they know they want America to like, and the world to like them. So they can't come out and just be like, you know what, I don't have time to talk to you right now at an interview. Right. Even if they're having a bitchy, crabby day, which we've all had. So they are acting constantly. They are actors. So if you don't feel like you've been had, then
well, not only that, but I mean, as someone who was an acting major, theater major, and spent a lot of time around actors are assholes. I mean, there's a lot of ego, there's a lot of problems, there's a lot of depression, a lot of mental illness, there's just a lot of insecurities.
Oftentimes substance abuse.
And half the people you probably worship as a performer are probably not that nice people behind. Now, I want to say one more thing, and then we need to move on. We'll play a game of Would You Rather. Regarding J.K. Rowling, and I don't know how old she is, guessing my age or a little older.
I think she's your age or a little older.
So here's what I would say. So what's the problem with her? She has an issue, a personal issue with trans people.
Yes, she does.
What else? Okay. 50 gazillion people my age have the same problem with trans people. Why? They don't understand, because we didn't come from an era where that was in the open, where we weren't taught to understand that. Mm-hmm. She doesn't understand it. Now, that's not necessarily an excuse.
No, because she could educate herself.
And that's the thing. Start educating her. She has supported LGBTQ
Plus.
Issues. She stood up. She's stood up against Trump. She stood up for liberal causes, and now the liberals, because of one thing that she's not tolerant of, one thing out of the whole thing, they're going to turn on her, and that's where I have a problem. And it's just like, my wife and I had this conversation today, because when I was in college, I dated a girl from Okinawa, a Japanese girl, and my grandfather had a lot of problems with it at first, and it was all because of the war, Japanese war.
Yep.
That was his generation.
Yep.
My generation, that's not there.
Right.
My parents' generation have a lot more problems with African Americans. Marriage, if I married African American or a black girl, my parents would have had problems with that.
Well, think about it. When your parents were young, it was illegal.
Well, that's my point. So
to them, I mean, they were raised that way. Now, I never use that phrase as an excuse for anybody's ignorance. They were raised. I mean, I will use that as an excuse for their ignorance. Mm-hmm. Yes. I will not use that excuse for their continued ignorance.
Oh, I totally agree with it. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm not making an excuse for anybody. I'm saying if you're in a point to try to understand where someone's coming from, not everybody has a responsibility to be perfect, but they have the same responsibility to be perfect as you have to try to understand them. Mm-hmm. So we have to both kind of work together. And there's going to be some people who are imperfect. J.K. Rowling comes from an era where homosexuality and trans were not issues that were addressed in public other than to ridicule people. Right. I grew up, calling somebody a fag or a queer or something, that's just something you did. It didn't have anything to do with being gay. It was just what you were taught, and you did it without thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And now I'm my age, and I'm like, I would never do that. I mean, it's just not, because I've learned. Mm-hmm. And now that's changing. But that's the people who are my age. That's the group that we struggle with. Whereas my parents, it was the African American group, and my grandparents maybe the Asian. So everybody's got their burden that they have to kind of get out of that prejudice. So if J.K. Rowling has supported all of this, but she has a problem with the trans, then you can look at her and just say, that's just her age. Okay? That's her age group. Young people now are being, and I was going to mention a documentary, which I'll mention later, but young people now are being trained and being educated about trans people and bisexual people and pansexual people. Names for sexuality I never even heard of.
I came out as a semi-demi pan. So, and you wouldn't know what that is.
It sounds like an Asian dish, and I'm fine with it. I'll take it. But I'm just saying, all I'm saying is just, you got to be a little bit patient instead of just completely turning the switch. Now, having said that, her just being bold and just coming right, and I don't know how much it is, but I mean, her just keeping on is one thing. If she started making her movies, if she started incorporating that point of view in her movies, then I would say, okay, now's the time to stop supporting that.
Yeah.
But if it's just a personal point of view, it's kind of like, okay, tell her you don't agree, maybe help her to educate. She's smart, she's got a lot, and someone will at some point. And I just feel like at some point, maybe she will change her point of view. Just like we all just kind of educate and grow up. Let's play a game of Would You Rather.
Okay,
let's do that. We've gone on long enough.
I have some birthday facts after this.
Oh, cool.
Not a lot, but some. I'm going to go first. Is that okay?
You're going first? Yes. Yeah. I've got to get my glasses here because...
We have stones this time because I managed to
You
remember
actually brought
to bring the Would You Rather cards
and
back.
you're going to drop the red stone. Go ahead.
That's what you think. It's purple.
Purple has some red in it.
I'm gonna ask Jax because he said he was gonna go back. I think I dropped purple more than anything.
We'll find out one day. Food and ingestion. Would you rather have to eat a raw goldfish and chew it,
Oh,
or lick the bottom of a homeless man's feet? You've done that.
yeah, I have. Let me ask you a question. In this particular scenario, has the fish can be raw,
Goldfish.
but has it been gutted?
It says live goldfish. How
Oh,
are
it
you
says
gonna
live. It says live.
have to eat a raw goldfish
It
and
doesn't
chew
say
it?
live.
It doesn't say live.
So if it's been gutted, I'll do that.
So it's like sushi.
I eat raw fish all the time.
All right.
I'd totally go with the fish.
You're going. You got a little what do they call them? Let's say a little out. You got a little hook.
Yeah. Yep.
Escape.
Escape.
I don't know what to call it.
I don't know
All
what
right.
you're talking about.
Here we go.
All right. Go.
Loophole. That's what I'm trying to get. Here we go. Green.
It's blue. Okay, so blue stands for appearance and embarrassment. Would you rather speak like a static radio, fading in and out your entire life like this,
Okay.
or sing every word you speak?
I can't sing, but I also can't speak like a static radio. But if I had to sing every word, maybe I would learn to sing better, and I just make it like a musical. So
Yeah.
I'd probably go with that.
I'd go with that for sure.
Sing every
I
word.
sing a lot of the stuff that I say.
Honey, take out the trash. Then
Or-
clean out
or
the cat litter.
If she hasn't done it in a while, you could go a little more heavy metal. Honey, take out the trash.
Yeah, you could change and then you can rap, and then
Yep.
that's almost like talking.
Yeah.
Speaking of cat litter, just want to say really quick, we bought a special cat box.
Yeah.
It's a wooden thing. It's nice. It looks like a bedside table, and you put your cat litter inside of it and close the door, and then there's a little hole that's shaped like a cat head, and the cats go in, they poop, and then they come out, and it's a nice little spotless thing.
But Toffee's head fits in it.
It has. We thought it was going to be great.
Yeah.
There's no cat boxes that fit it, for
No.
one thing, and so we have it's a little bit smaller, but the cats poop and shit everywhere inside. It's the most disgusting thing. It's so much easier to get a regular cat box. I don't know why I had to tell you this now, but I feel like I need to let you know.
Well, I
So
was
you
never
don't buy it.
planning on that because with Pretty Girl, if you don't get one of those Buddha boxes,
Yeah.
which has it's round and
We
it has
have
the
one.
lid.
Do you want it?
I have one.
You can have another one if you want it.
But if you don't
we're
have
gonna throw it
that,
away.
Pretty Girl will go because I had to take the lid off of it once or something, or I had one that didn't have the little stairs.
She likes her privacy.
She will get into the box and then pee outside the box.
Yes.
I don't know how it's possible.
We have a cat who did that,
But she does it.
did the poop outside the box.
No, Pretty Girl
Ellie
just she
did
pees
it.
right outside the box, and it wakes me up. Like when it was happening, I finally got her new box, but she would pee outside, and you could hear it hitting the floor, and it would wake me up.
Raining?
And I'd be like, "What the?" And you have to clean it immediately because I have laminate floor, and if the liquid sits on laminate floor, it's going to ruin it. So I'd get up and clean up cat piss in the middle of the night.
You have some birthday facts. I did want to
do.
mention my friends. I have a friend who has who worked on a documentary,
Oh, cool!
and we finally watched the documentary.
You did?
And it's awesome, and I want to promote it.
Okay.
But I want to really quick. I'm going to look it up because I want to make sure I say the name right.
Let me just say that I'm really liking this beer. Once again, I'll tell you what it is. It's Game of Thrones. My watch has ended, which is true for most Game of Thrones fans, unless you're like me and you just rewatch it over and over again.
Yeah. All right. So I have a friend who has been working on a documentary. It just came out. She was a assistant producer on the documentary. It's called "We Are the Radical Monarchs," and it aired on POV on PBS.
Okay.
And you can download it or watch it, stream it, I guess, for free throughout the month of August. We Are the Radical Monarchs. It's really interesting. It's basically, and it's not a spoiler, but it's about a group of girls. It's a group. The Radical Monarchs are kind of like the Brownies
Okay.
or the Girl Scouts.
Okay.
Young girls who are I believe, mostly inner city, but they're all girls of color.
Okay.
And they're girls that sometimes feel like they're out of place in like Girl Scouts where most of the girls are white.
Okay.
So it's girls that kind of have the same upbringing that they have. The only thing is they're educated on a lot of activist subjects.
Okay.
So they really like Black Lives Matter, and we're talking about trans and all that kind of stuff. So just social issues,
Current events
that you don't learn in the Girl Scouts and the Brownies.
Right. No.
So it's really interesting, and this is an actual thing. These girls, women, I should say, started this organization for the girls, and just about how it grew and became a thing, and now they're starting chapters in other parts of the country. And so
That's awesome.
whether you don't have to agree with it, but whether you do or not, it's an interesting thing to watch. And so do it and see how it is. It's you can stream it for free on PBS. We Are the Radical Monarchs. Look for PBS. I think it's pbs.org/POV, and you can watch it.
Sweet. I'm going to do that. That sounds really interesting.
My wife loved it.
I am just going to reveal that I was a Girl Scout for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
I hated it.
You were not a radical monarch.
I was not a radical monarch. But to be honest with you, I don't know if it's from growing up in Oakland, California, or if it's from, who my parents associated with or whatever, or where we lived. I don't remember, and mind you, it's hard to remember that far back. Anyways, I don't really remember the demographics of the girls in my troop. Like I know there was a mixture of people.
You said Oakland, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
This organization, I think, takes place in Oakland.
Oh, cool.
It started, I believe, in San Francisco, and then they kind of moved it to Oakland.
Okay,
if
so
I'm not
East
mistaken.
Bay.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's get to some birthday facts.
Birthday fact.
I need my glasses. I'm sorry.
That's
not
one
prepared.
fact. When you get old, you got to have glasses.
I am now
Okay.
46 years old.
Wow.
I
that's
need glasses.
crazy.
Okay. So let's see. Fairly well-known Latin American birthday tradition involves beating an object with a stick until candy falls out. What's that called?
Piñata.
Very good.
I almost bought you a piñata yesterday.
I don't need that much candy in my life.
I know. I don't know what's in it, but they
You could
had
have filled it with like fuzzy socks. That would have been awesome.
fuzzy socks piñata.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Like the dollar store does fuzzy socks. Like that's one of the only reasons I go to the dollar store is to buy fuzzy socks because they're $1, and I wear out my fuzzy socks a lot.
Something else I almost bought you, but I didn't, so I could tell you.
Okay. You want to save it for the Zoom when people are supposed to give me virtual gifts?
No, this was a adult coloring book.
Ooh.
So I mean, like it was porn, like coloring book of porn.
You and I did a painting of naked people, and they were
it was
us.
Nothing like that.
Okay.
This is real porn.
I'm going to actually share the painting on our Facebook page.
Did you bring it?
No, I'm going to take a picture of it and post it.
Oh,
but
no.
No, don't. Okay.
Where's? Oh, there it is.
All right, never mind. Anyways, in the painting we did, Rick is holding a hand
I feel
puppet.
like it'll get us knocked off Facebook.
That's right, because you can see a penis.
There's
and
penis
boobies.
and boobs and things like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Anyways, let's see. This is an awkward one, and it's kind of on what we were talking
awkward
about.
birthday fact.
Awkward birthday fact.
Okay.
An old tradition in parts of Germany for men who were still single on their 30th birthday.
In what, Germany?
Yeah, in Germany. Was to sweep the steps of City Hall while dressed in drag until they could find a virgin to kiss.
I feel like it's a good way to for City Hall. It's just like, we got to clean these stairs. What are we going to do? Well,
some of them are still there 60 years
let's
later.
make it a tradition
Yes.
that guys have to sweep our steps on their
It's just
birthday.
so weird.
And then there was a bunch of like really old virgins that have never been kissed, and they're like, we want to be a part of this.
And
they're
they
like, all right,
attack
I got to
them.
kiss a virgin.
But okay, so it's
Who
been
doesn't want to kiss a virgin?
me.
Maybe I don't. I don't know.
But okay, just because they're a virgin doesn't mean they've never kissed before.
And I don't know. That's weird.
It's just awkward. So this tradition has been modernized.
How many virgins have you kissed? I think I've kissed
You've kissed way more virgins than I have. Let me
Two.
just be honest with
two.
you.
Kissed 2 virgins.
Really?
Yep.
So most of the women you've been with were more advanced than you sexually?
3 virgins.
Okay.
Kissed 3, maybe 4, possibly 4.
This reminds me of a line in Sleepless in Seattle.
Maybe 5. New ones have started popping up in my head. I'm starting to remember. But there were some that I kissed. I don't even know what their past history was. So I have no idea.
I've only
Can't
ever
do that.
kissed one virgin, and she wasn't a virgin for long.
Because you kissed her.
After I kissed her.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Just because you kiss, you're still a virgin.
I guess. I don't know.
But she wasn't. Anyways, that was in high school. So, okay. But now it's different. So now single men and women spend their 30th birthday drinking cheap booze with their friends.
Like tonight.
While sweeping steps or doing other chores to show that they're eligible for marriage. Somehow doing chores makes you eligible for marriage.
Well, there are chores in marriage, so I guess that...
I guess if you're married, you don't have to do chores, though.
Well, yeah, you get married.
One of you does.
Like, I remember when you used to sweep the steps.
Right.
You don't even do that anymore.
This is super weird.
Well, you're not a virgin either.
And I kissed you.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Brazil and Jamaica, traditions that involve getting flour thrown at you.
Like cooking flour?
Yeah, like
baking?
flour. Yeah.
What? Why would you do that?
They would call it, Jamaicans will sometimes be antiqued or covered in flour on their birthday.
So kind of like, okay, I see how that
But Brazilian kids take it a step further and throw not just flour, but eggs.
Wax.
Eggs.
They should throw wax at you. That's how the Brazilian wax started.
Because you got to peel it off.
Yes.
And everything it's stuck to.
All the hair and everything.
Oh,
That's
God.
How
Make sure they use sugar wax, though, because otherwise you're going to lose skin.
Let's start a rumor.
No, let's not.
So they throw eggs at you. So if a Jamaican and a Brazilian got together and got married, they would automatically have a cake.
They'd have a cake.
Their wedding cake would be on their skin.
While they had sex for the first time.
Yeah.
On their wedding night.
Let's make a cake.
That's what they're calling.
That's
the new thing. Let's make a cake,
Yeah.
baby. Yeah. No, let's not do that. Now, in Canadians often get greased on their birthdays.
There you go. Let's get
now
them
you
involved.
got the oil.
You can find somebody who gets sugared.
And then you got a really
got
good
it
cake.
made, yeah.
Nice. But what happens is their friends and relatives ambush them and smear butter on their nose.
Ooh.
Apparently, this practice is for warding off bad luck.
Excess butter. They're like, what are we going to do with this?
That's just weird.
Put it on a Canadian's nose. I don't know.
And then okay, this is weird. On Argentina and Hungary and Italy, like here we do the spank you for once for every year you're alive or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of gone out, the culture. But
they kick you in the nuts.
No, they tug on your ears.
Okay.
That's just weird. Some of the foods are kind of cool too, although I will tell you that some of the rules, like here, in Germany and Greece and some other countries, it's considered bad luck to wish someone a happy birthday before the exact day or to celebrate early.
It's really always before the exact day. I mean, except when it's on the day.
But like to say happy birthday or happy upcoming birthday, that would be considered bad luck. You don't say it until their birthday. See what I'm saying?
And so what about afterwards? Like happy belated?
It doesn't say.
You can do it afterwards.
It doesn't say.
Okay.
Oh, unlike in the United States, it's the birthday boy or girl who pays for events and buys drinks for their friends in Italy, Germany, and other European countries. Along the same lines, the birthday celebrant will bake the cake for friends and colleagues in Germany.
I like that tradition.
Rather than, I'm broke. I can't bake you a cake. And I can't bake.
My wife's making you something tonight.
She is.
Cake and pie. And
she's making me a key lime pie.
Yeah, and a lemon cake.
Because I'm in
lemon
love
blueberry
with key
cake.
lime pie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and in Italy, if you don't open your birthday present as soon as it's given to you, like when someone hands it to you, it's
the
considered
mafia beats
rude.
the shit. Oh.
It's very rude.
That's rude here, too. Have you ever given somebody a gift and go, here you go, and then they're like, thank you, and then you just put it on their arm and take it off, and they're like, well, I want to see you open it.
I want to see the reaction.
That's
what I'm going to get out of giving you a present is seeing your reaction. One last fact here. This is really weird.
Okay.
To me. It's not weird to people in Vietnam, though.
Oh.
Okay. So in Vietnam, people usually don't celebrate their individual birthdays. Instead, everyone celebrates together on Tet, which is the day that celebrates Vietnamese New Year, and everyone turns a year older.
Oh, on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's like the
get it all done.
One more fact: Jehovah's Witnesses do not celebrate birthdays.
I heard that. Yeah.
Or any real holidays. Honestly, it's I don't remember why. The only holiday that they really, really celebrate, in, it's either May or March, which they consider Jesus Christ's birthday.
I see.
And I remember that because I used to study with him. Mm-hmm. I never really was a witness, but I learned a lot about them.
Yeah, I did. I was that way with Mormonism when I was in high school. I came really close to being a Mormon.
Your mother would have disowned you.
She didn't particularly like it, but she didn't say don't.
Yeah.
But still.
Interesting.
I almost did.
Because they're Southern Baptists.
Who? What?
Your parents.
Oh, yeah.
So if you became a Mormon, they wouldn't disown you?
Southern Baptists, I don't know. Not really like that.
Okay.
Southern Baptists are not like Catholics or Jews, where it's like it, like even Seventh-day Adventists were just like really cliquey.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like if you married outside of that,
Outside of your religion.
it was like you were kind of shunned. But if you're Southern Baptist and you marry Methodist or Presbyterian or Pentecostal,
That's weird because
care.
it's even happening still today in some religions. The girl who played, not the girl who played Pavarti, but the girl who played Padma in Harry Potter. This is in the news, so it's not anything weird. Is she actually got beat up by her brother in her own home for dating someone who wasn't of their religion?
yeah, there was an ID channel thing about this girl where her brother killed her because she was doing that. She was embarrassing her father because she was seeing somebody without telling her dad.
Yeah.
And he killed her.
Yeah.
But that's how some cultures feel about women.
They're expendable.
Yeah.
And they need to be punished with death.
I have a couple of news stories because of your... wait, is that your facts? Your birthday facts?
That's it. That's all I got. I slimmed it down because I don't want to drone on.
I have a couple of news stories I picked specifically because of your birthday.
Okay, what you got?
News stories.
I heard that part.
All right. A Kansas dog makes a 50-mile trek to its old home in Missouri.
Aww.
A dog named Cleo disappeared from her home in Kansas earlier this month. She turned up a few days later at an old home in Missouri about 50 miles away.
Aww.
Colton Michael told television station KMBC that the 4-year-old Labrador Retriever Border Collie mix showed up on the front porch of his family's home in Lawson, which is 30 miles northeast of Kansas City. At first, she wouldn't let anyone get near her. She finds her way home. There's some strangers living in it. That would be scary for anyone.
Yeah.
So she all the way 50 miles to her original house.
So they had moved, and she wasn't comfortable with the area, and maybe she got out and decided to go, quote unquote, home.
Eventually, he was able to gain Cleo's trust and get her checked for microchipped, which showed that she belonged to former owners of the house.
I love those stories.
Cleo's owners had moved to Olathe, Kansas, about 50 miles southwest of Lawson, and they couldn't believe it when Michael called and said that the dog had turned up at their old home. I don't know. That might be the first place I checked. They posted on Facebook a week earlier about the missing dog. Neither family knows how Cleo made the trip, which would have required her to cross at least one river.
She had to cross a river, and God knows what she ate. Like, did they say how long it took her?
Didn't say.
Oh, poor baby.
All right. So next news story. A dog lost on South Carolina highway was found in Miami.
What?
That's a trip.
That's a trek.
A pet dog that jumped out of a car window on a South Carolina highway has been found 2 weeks later, nearly 600 miles away in Miami.
2 weeks later?
Yep.
She went 600 miles.
In 2 weeks.
She had to have been picked up by somebody.
She was hitchhiking. She was going to the beach. Take me. The dog named Belle escaped from the moving car near Charleston. According to Tim Whitfield, whose 90-year-old mother owns Belle.
Aww.
Whitfield put out a call on Facebook at the time and said that he bought the puppy for his mother after his dog of 16 years recently died. After 2 weeks of searching, he learned over the weekend that a car of Florida residents grabbed Belle out of traffic after spotting the animal while traveling through Charleston to Miami.
Good for them.
Oh, while they were traveling, I was like, how did they know where the dog was going? Where are you headed? Oh, Miami.
Oh, okay. Miami.
Rescuers said they saved Belle because they were afraid she was going to be hit by oncoming cars.
Poor baby.
They then tracked down Whitfield through social media posts. Whitfield thanked the people who helped share Belle's story in a message posted on Facebook. A great reminder that when all seems lost, hope must be the constant thought.
I just watched a dodo along that same line. You know,
wait, what?
The dodo on Instagram. They do stories.
I don't know what that is.
It's called The Dodo. It's special happy stories about lots of good things. And there was a story about a couple who was traveling through Mexico in an RV. And they had stopped at one beach, and they were staying there, camping there for a few days. And they met this dog, or maybe it was a couple weeks. They met this dog who just kind of came up to them. Was a little skittish at first, but came up to them. And she was covered in fleas and ticks and and she looked malnourished. They fed her. They actually took her they found a local vet, and they took her to the vet. They got her some flea prevention, and they got her some shots. And there was no, what do you call it? Chip?
Oh, yeah.
Because they scanned, and there was no chip. They had 2 dogs in the RV with them already, so they couldn't really bring the dog in, and she wasn't comfortable getting into the RV. Like, they're thinking this is just a street dog, right? And the dog would come every day and just plop down with them and play with them, and finally she got comfortable where she was getting belly rubs, and she was, but she still didn't want to go inside the RV. Anyways, it turns out they found out that the dog was actually owned. They had decided to take the dog with them if they could get her comfortable with the RV. But then it turns out the dog had an owner. They found the house. They went to the house, and the house was like, no, you can't have our dog. And it was horrible for them, and they were very upset because they had really fallen for this dog.
Yeah.
And then some guy who was working on the beach was like, did you find the owners? They said yes. He said, what did they say? He told him, and he's like, well, I'm the dad of that family, and I think if you really love her, you can take her because we can't afford her.
Oh.
So he allowed them to take the dog, which, is sad for the kids, but good for the dog. I would think the kids would be happy that the dog's going to have a good life. Eventually, they'll understand that. So, but they were prepared to, give the family a year's worth of food and medical care and everything just to keep them going. But they got to take the dog. So then they had to get the dog comfortable with the RV. They finally did. So now it's 2 people and 3 dogs in an RV.
I had that fear with my dog Kiefer that he was a stray.
Yeah.
And he showed up at some people's farm that I know, and that's how I got him. And I always had this fear that
somebody would come and say
like his
it's my
owners
dog.
would be like, "Hey, that's Spot or whatever."
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "No, it's not."
No, he doesn't have any spots on him.
I'd be like, "No, I raised him from a time he was a little puppy."
I watched him come out of his mother's vagina.
Yeah,
he's my dog.
Well, that's weird. I turned away. I didn't really watch it. But yeah, I was always afraid of that. I don't know what I would have done. I would have fought him, I think, for him.
Yeah.
All right, let's end your birthday and end the podcast.
Let's do both of those
with
things.
a little review.
Hold on.
Of the Game of Thrones. Thank you.
This is my review.
You're reviewing the Game of Thrones with a applause, a round of applause.
Yes.
What is it? Game of Thrones. My watch has ended.
My watch has ended. It's by Ommegang Brewery, and it's 8% alcohol, and it's a lovely beer. Again, the sweetness becomes slightly cloying at the end. I don't know that I would have much more than 1 pint of this, which is plenty since it's got 8% alcohol.
Yeah.
Unless you're me and you like.
It is a beer that, like, we had an hour. We drank the beer and talked. And so what happened is it settled. So almost no carbonation at all.
It didn't start with much.
No head, but no carbonation. And then it had a really, really good flavor that kind of disappeared as it went along.
And became just more sweet than anything.
Yeah, it is a little sweet, but it's still good tasty. So, I agree with that.
Okay, so I'm going to give it a 3.5.
3.5. I'm giving it a 4.5.
Wow.
I really liked the flavor on it.
You know what? Up mine to a 4. Now that you've written it down, just cross it out.
You're so easy to persuade.
I am.
I'm
gullible.
I felt like it. I mean, the taste at the beginning when I first had it was one of my favorite tastes of any beer we've had.
It was really good. That
the coffee
initial
flavors,
taste,
there's so many different flavors. And then as the carbonation went away and we talked, I felt like the flavor kind of flattened out a little bit, and it became kind of mono flavored, and not a bad thing. But I think what if I bought a thing of this and just poured in a small beer glass and drink it a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be great.
Yeah,
it's like almost like not a dessert beer. It's not that sweet, but
no, it's not that sweet. But like just something just to have a little bit of at a time. Like don't have a whole pint.
Right.
I guess. Yeah.
Right.
For sure. Okay.
Okay.
So I gave it a 4. You gave it a 4.5.
Yep, that's it. That's the Game of Thrones.
That's awesome.
Well, let's say goodbye. I want to thank everyone for listening to the podcast. You know, we're at a point during this whole COVID viral crisis.
Pandemic. Just call it what it is.
That we, I don't know, our listenership is up and down and crossing whatever. Sometimes it's a lot of listeners, other times not as much. So we always appreciate you for listening to the podcast. We've been doing this for 2 years now.
Yes.
Almost 3. Holy crap.
Wow.
And so we have a lot of podcasts. If I'm not mistaken, they're all available. Anybody who wants to go back and listen to them all. I'm not encouraging you to do that. Not all of them are worth listening to.
Trust me.
Maybe this one's not. I don't know. But
I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
I hopped onto Facebook. Because I've deactivated my account. So anybody who thinks I'm ignoring them, I'm not. I've deactivated my account.
My wife was like, "Did Cheri unfriend me?"
No, I deactivated my account.
Okay.
It's gone. It's not I didn't delete it though. So if I need to jump on, I can.
Sure.
So I saw somebody that posted something and I thought it might be urgent, so I went ahead and I jumped on and I looked and it wasn't. It was stupid.
Okay.
But while I was on there, the first thing that popped up on my page was something from my cousin.
Oh.
She posted pickle ice cream.
Oh.
And I thought, that is amazing.
That's for when you're pregnant.
She said, I thought of you. And I was like, you know me so well. I would eat the shit out of pickle ice cream.
See, that's the problem with not getting on Facebook occasionally. I try to get on like every few days if I can.
I don't know. I was getting so ranty.
Don't type. Don't put anything. Don't just check and see if you have messages. If you do, read them and then go back off.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, you're right. I even got a little weird on Instagram. I'm like, this is a time suck, and I don't have time for this. And then I'm crying because there's stories about dog rescues and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, pickle ice cream. I think it's a thing. I would love.
We need to get that to try it on the show.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would like it.
So thanks, Kim.
Okay. But thanks for everybody else, too.
Yes.
Joining us. We do have a Facebook page. That's the best place to follow us. But we're also on Instagram, YouTube,
all those other
Twitter. And you can send us an email at thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. We love email. We love for you to tell us what you think of the show. And give us hints. Tell us what you might like us to do. Like for us to say.
Because ain't nobody talking now.
No,
so
it's kind of quiet. But
quiet.
I will interpret dreams. If you got a weird dream, just send the weird dream to me. I'll tell you what it means. If you got a problem in your relationship, if you're having a little relationship problem, Cheri's an expert in that area, and she will give you some advice if you will just send it thisepicdisaster@gmail.com, and we'll help you out because we like that. And as always, stickers are free. Just say I want some stickers, and we'll send them to you.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Kim, send me your address. I'll send you some stickers. Just for the recommendation of pickle fucking ice cream.
Wow. I had something, I know I had some things I was going to talk about.
It's
and
fine.
I
We're
forgot,
done. We'll do it later.
We have another show on Monday, so stay tuned and we will do it then, I'm pretty sure.
Thanks for listening.
All right. We'll see you then.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
This is a Violet Jester Media podcast.